Hey everyone, and welcome back to week 3 of A Hen's Guide to Hatching and Raising Chicks. We are at day 20 of Favs, our salmon favorella, hatching her own nest of chicks. So what does that mean? That means that any day now, if all goes according to plan, we should hear baby chicks tucked up underneath her. So what's happening? About 24 hours before the chicks hatch, if you were to candle them, you'd see a mostly completely filled up egg because the chick has taken up almost all the room with a little bit of the air cell at the top. What will happen now is the baby chicks will be pipping or kind of poking into that internal air cell, and then they're going to go ahead and be pipping externally, which means cracking out of the shell. Now that whole process can take 24 hours, and you may see signs of the eggs actually chirping inside, even some rocking, and certainly, hopefully, some beaks poking through. Now it's very important during that time that we don't do anything to disturb the chicks or the mother hen. If I were to pick her up and remove her and there was a sudden change in humidity, the membranes that have been nourishing the chicks, so they've been in the eggs, can actually shrink wrap the chicks and get them stuck inside the egg. So we're not going to do anything to Favs, and we're not going to do anything to these eggs. We're just going to keep our fingers crossed that we have some babies here soon, and we are so excited. Now, it is most common for chicks to hatch around 21 days, but it is possible that some will be a little bit later, day 22 or day 23. And in addition, because this was kind of a naturally built nest, the laying times of the eggs are a little bit varied, so we also won't be surprised if it takes a couple days. Now, after the last chick hatches, Favs will most likely sit on the nest for an additional 48 hours just to make sure everyone is hatched that's going to hatch. And then she'll take over being a mama hen. So we are very excited. As I said, we're not touching Favs at all. She's very protective of her nest, as she should be, so we're giving her lots of space and just waiting to hear those baby chicks underneath her. Now, you may have noticed Favs is in an entirely new setup. Matt and I, the more we thought about it, the more and more nervous we got that where she currently was, that elevated nest box, was just not going to be a good place for babies to hatch. And it's very important that you don't disturb the eggs after day 18. This is because the chicks are getting in position to absorb the remainder of the yolk and to pip into that air cell. And if you turn them, like, you definitely shouldn't be candling them or anything like that after day 18. But if you turn them, you can mess that up and it can cause them not to hatch. So we kind of had a make or break moment where we're like, are we going to move the nest and hope Favs stays sitting on it, or are we not? And we thought, let's do it. It was about day 15. So we're like, it's now or never. So we did it in the evening, and that's important because hens obviously like to slow down and nest. Oh, I'm going to shut this so she doesn't feel nervous around Sunny. Hens like to slow down and nest in the evening, obviously. So we thought we know that's a great time if you are going to move the nest to do it, because it's more likely that the hen will sit back down on the new nest because she's getting ready for bed anyways. So we have this coop that we no longer use, and we made it her little paradise. So she's all moved in here. We moved the eggs separately, then moved her in. She sat on them, thankfully, so we should be all set. And then when the babies are born, she can care for them up in this nesting box area and then bring them down into the other zone as she's ready. The last thing I'll say is we'll be removing hen layer feed. That's what Favs is eating now, but we're going to be taking that out when the chicks are born. Adult hens can eat chick feed, no problem. Chicks cannot eat adult feed. And the reason is adult hen feed is a ton of calcium in it so that they can make strong, healthy shells. In baby chicks, this calcium buildup can actually lead to issues in the kidneys, which can actually lead to death. So no adult feed for chicks, and Favs will be just thrilled to have tons of baby chick feed to eat, so we'll be all set. Another reason we decided to move Favs when we did is she had jumped off for her daily break to use the bathroom and to eat and drink, and we saw that there were additional eggs in the nest. And we know that hens go through a hormonal change when they start to sit on a nest to hatch eggs, and they stop laying. So we were sure that all those other eggs, plus they were different colors than the eggs she lays, were laid by other hens. And this meant that hens were jumping into her nest box and were pushing her out of the way to lay eggs, which obviously isn't good for her, but it's certainly not good for the eggs that are being incubated. So we were like, we got to do something about this so that she can kind of have her privacy and no one is disturbing the nest. So that was another big reason that we got them out of there. All right, fingers crossed, I'll have babies here soon.